Stop lying to yourself. Your appearance matters a lot. You're not being authentic when you let yourself go. You're being negligent toward yourself. Every time you go out with an improvised look, you're sending a message. I don't respect myself. I don't take myself seriously. And how can you expect others to value you if you don't project strength, clarity, and purpose? It's time to drop the excuses, look at yourself honestly in the mirror, and take full control over your appearance, because yes, your exterior speaks, and right now it clearly says whether you're ready to conquer your life or keep wasting time. Before this video starts, write immediately, without thinking, in the comments. Today, I choose to care for myself with discipline. I am stoic. Write it with determination, as a firm commitment to yourself. Do it because it's proven the brain is moldable, and when you write an affirmation with clear intent, you begin to reprogram your mind from the inside out. This is not optional, it's part of your transformation. Write it now. Your appearance and first impression determine trust and opportunities. Your image speaks for you before you even open your mouth. Within seconds, people instinctively decide whether to trust you, respect you, or ignore you. That's why every time you walk into a room, step on a stage, or simply walk down the street, you're sending a message. And often that message determines whether you're taken seriously or overlooked. It's not about being the most beautiful or wearing the most expensive clothes, but about being in alignment with your identity, your purpose, and your vision. The way you move, sit, walk, and look, all of it shouts to the world who you really are. If you walk hunched over, with your head down, dragging your feet and tired energy, you're saying without words, I don't believe in myself. But if you walk upright, with a calm expression and alert energy, you're saying, I'm ready, focused, and committed. Your image is projected energy, and when that energy is carried by intention and discipline, doors open without you even touching them. This isn't magic, it's human perception. If you want respect, start by respecting yourself. If you want to be heard, show up as someone worth listening to. If you want opportunities, show that you're ready to seize them. The world watches, analyzes, and decides before you say a word. That fast, that ruthless, and at the same time so powerful when you use it to your advantage. Ask yourself every day, does the image I project match the person I want to be? If not, opportunities vanish. If your clothes signal disorder, your face shows stress, or your body radiates laziness, you're sabotaging your message. But if you dress with purpose, your body language reflects clarity, and your posture is backed by solid habits, your presence becomes unforgettable. Discipline is not just internal, it's visible, tangible, and felt. A disciplined person doesn't need to declare their worth, they radiate it. A focused person doesn't need to convince anyone, their consistency speaks for itself. Elegance has nothing to do with luxury, but with dignity. Presence doesn't depend on looks, but on alignment. So decide today to make a silent declaration every time you step outside, that you know who you are and where you're going. Don't underestimate the power of good posture. Don't ignore the strength of a firm gaze. Don't undervalue the impact of centered energy. Sometimes the opportunity you're waiting for doesn't come because you're not radiating that you can handle it. But when your external image is a clear reflection of your focused mind and solid character, everything changes. People follow strength, not confusion, certainty, not doubt. And that certainty is built every day, from the moment you wake up until you walk out to face the world. Stoicism reminds us, even if we can't control others' opinions, we can control how we present ourselves to them. That is our responsibility. We can't demand respect if our image radiates chaos. We can't expect opportunities if our posture shows insecurity. Your image is not superficial. It's strategy, coherence, and self-respect. Ask yourself every morning, does my image reflect my values? Does my posture match my goal? Does my energy align with my vision? If not, you're giving away your power. If yes, you become unstoppable. Your presence will speak for you in rooms where no one knows you yet. And your image will be the key that opens doors that were once closed. It's not about pretending, it's about embodying, not about building a facade, but confirming with your body what you've already decided in your mind. The respect you seek outside starts with the image you shape inside. Real self-confidence is visible and naturally attractive. It doesn't need announcements, applause, or external validation. It is felt, perceived, silent, and yet powerful. When someone enters a room with true confidence, everything changes: the atmosphere, the attention, the energy. Heads turn not because of what the person says, but because of what they radiate. And that presence comes from within. It's not makeup, not a speech, it's presence. This kind of self-confidence is neither arrogance nor conceit, but inner certainty, knowing who you are, what you're worth, and where you're going, even if no one else knows it yet. It's the calm gaze forward, the determined yet relaxed stride. It's speaking without raising your voice, because you no longer need to prove anything when you know your worth. But everything starts with you. No one will respect you if you don't respect yourself. No one will believe in you if you doubt your own voice. No one will follow you if you hide behind insecurities. This is where many lose themselves, believing that confidence comes from external validation. But true affirmation begins when you fully accept yourself, with strengths and weaknesses, light and shadow, and decide to walk tall even when the ground shakes beneath you. How do you train that confidence? In silence, in your inner dialogue, in how you speak to yourself when no one is listening, in how you look at yourself in the mirror each morning, in how you get up after you've fallen, in how you refuse to give up even when no one notices, in how you support yourself from within when life doesn't cooperate. That's where real security is born. Because you know you're capable, you trust your preparation, you understand that you don't have to be perfect to be valuable. The body doesn't lie, and body language is the most honest mirror of your mind. A straight back, a steady gaze, a calm breath, all send a clear message. I am in control, I am at peace, I am present. When that becomes your habit, your natural state, you no longer have to pretend. You are it. See yourself as someone who deserves to be where they are. Don't ask for permission to exist. Don't try to fit in. Let your mere presence confirm that you know what you bring, that you're prepared, that you've earned it, and carry it within. This visualization is not fantasy. It's mental training. Every thought you repeat about yourself is a direct command to your subconscious. Repeat doubts and you sow insecurity. Repeat powerful and purposeful affirmations, and you'll see how your energy changes, your voice, your way of moving. People feel that because we all, consciously or not, are drawn to those who radiate stability, clarity, and confidence. It happens automatically. That's why true self-confidence not only gives you inner peace, but also makes you a magnet for respect, for admiration, for opportunities. While others try to force attention, you attract it. Stoicism reminds us that true strength lies in mastering the inner world, not controlling the outer one. When you learn to manage your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, you radiate a calm that touches everyone around you. Confidence doesn't come from what happens outside, but from what you build inside. You don't have to be loud to be strong. You don't have to stand out to have presence. What you need is to know yourself, accept yourself, and move forward consistently. And if you stumble, don't break. Stand up with even more poise, because every fall is a chance to prove to yourself that your worth doesn't depend on what you achieve, but on how you face challenges. Breathe deeply, lift your gaze, feel your feet firmly on the ground, hold eye contact without fear. Let your energy speak for you. You don't need to convince anyone when you've already convinced yourself. That's the root of true confidence. And when you become this version of yourself, the world has no choice but to respond with respect, because whoever values themselves will inevitably be valued. Visualize clear, concrete goals for your appearance and well-being. Everything begins with a clear vision. If you don't know exactly how you want to look, feel, or live, every path will seem right, even the one that leads you away from your best version. The most common mistake is wanting results without defining goals. We say, I want to improve, but what does that mean? More energy, better posture, more confidence? If you don't define it clearly, You won't achieve it because what you can't measure, you can't improve. Clarity is power. Every day you postpone this definition is a lost day full of scattered efforts. I will take better care of myself is not enough. It's too vague. You must specify. I will get up every day at 6 in the morning. I will work out 3 times a week. I will maintain an upright posture while walking. I will drink more water. I will project confidence through my speech. These small, concrete, and consistent goals create visible results. And the visible creates self-confidence. Self-confidence creates attraction. Your appearance is no coincidence, but the direct result of your daily choices, how you dress, care for yourself, eat, rest, and talk to yourself internally. Do you understand? The image isn't made up. It is trained. If you don't set clear goals for your well-being, you leave your presence up to chance, and chance has never been a good image designer. Planning is your weapon. If you don't schedule time for your physical, emotional, and mental care, you're declaring that it's not a priority. And if you don't prioritize your well-being, no one will. Every week without clear goals strengthens mediocrity. Every well-planned week is a direct investment in your transformation. Imagine how you want to look and feel in a month, in 3 months, in a year. See it in detail, your energy, your posture, your style, your discipline. If you can clearly envision it, you can build it with determination. The mind needs direction. If you don't give it, it will fall into old, automatic chaos. But if you give it a clear, measurable, attainable, and repeatable goal, commitment is activated. And commitment produces results. Stop waiting for motivation. Work with structure. Motivation is fleeting, but a clearly defined goal and a consistent action plan bring progress even when you don't feel like it, because you're not dependent on moods but on the system you've designed yourself. That's how real change happens. Stoicism teaches us that self-discipline is born from the clear understanding of what we can control. Our thoughts, our decisions, our actions. Setting clear goals is an act of self-mastery. It is the firm declaration, I won't let inertia drive me, I choose my direction. This clarity transforms chaos into order and fear into action. Be practical, use a calendar, set reminders, write your goals visibly. Create daily rituals that carry your energy. For example, drinking water in the morning, stretching, taking a moment of silence, consciously aligning the day. In the evening, digital breaks, reading, gratitude, everything counts. And when every detail aligns with your goal, your image, your energy, and your self-perception, change. You're not here to improvise, but to evolve. Development doesn't happen by desire, but by design. So consciously design your routine, your presence, your future. Be detailed, be careful, be intentional. The clearer your goal, the easier your commitment, and the faster you'll see results that push you even further. When the world sees your transformation, some will think it was luck, others will call it magic, but you will know the truth. It was planning, consistency, vision, dedication, and above all, the result of no longer living on autopilot and taking the wheel of your life into your own hands. That is true beauty, the kind that comes from focus. Self-confidence is built by facing fear and moving forward anyway. Fear doesn't disappear by waiting, it dissolves when you take the step. The more you run from what scares you, the stronger it becomes. But when you choose to move forward, even with a pounding heart, trembling voice, and 1,000 doubts in your head, something awakens in you, courage. Courage is, like a muscle, something that grows through repetition. Every time you act despite fear, you build something greater than mere bravery. You build self-confidence. Too often we wait to feel ready. We wait for doubt to fade, for tension to ease, for everything to be perfectly aligned. But that moment rarely comes. The truth is, progress doesn't come from waiting, but from action. Action is the most effective remedy for uncertainty. Every step, no matter how small, shifts your focus, away from imagining what could go wrong toward what is actually happening. Fear lives in the mind, but action pulls it into reality and weakens it. When you face an obstacle, even if your knees tremble, you send a clear message to your mind. I can do this. You don't have to take giant leaps. Just go step by step, day by day. Self-confidence isn't gained by talking or thinking positively, but on the battlefield of life, in uncomfortable moments, in decisions you'd rather avoid but consciously accept. Every time you back away from fear, you lose inner ground. Your comfort zone shrinks and you feel weaker, not because you are, but because you've gotten used to fleeing. When you break that cycle, tell yourself, enough hiding, and act even without motivation. That's when your change begins. Do it uncomfortably, do it with fear, but do it. Submit that application, hold eye contact, speak your mind, seize that opportunity, talk to that person, sign up for that activity, because every action is a declaration. I am ready to grow. Growth doesn't happen in comfort, but at the edge of your emotional resilience, where challenge begins. Stoicism reminds us, fear is not an enemy, but a teacher exposing our mental limits. For the Stoics, courage is a virtue, not because it means fearlessness, but because it requires self-control. When fear says stop, and you choose to move forward, you practice mastery over your own soul. And that is true power. You don't need to feel secure to begin. Begin, and security will follow. Don't wait to feel brave. Act, and courage will emerge from movement. What blocks you the most isn't fear itself, but the paralysis, the passivity, the being stuck. When you choose to move, you choose to grow. Imagine the person you want to be, how they face fear, how they respond to challenges, how they approach what they once avoided. See this version of yourself walking through life with determination, and realize every brave action brings you closer to that version. You create it. It's not a leap, but a process, and it begins with every step forward. Stop waiting for guarantees. You don't need them. You only need resolve. Trust that what looks like a wall now will become a step when you face it. If you fall, get back up. If it hurts, breathe deeply, but keep going, because everything you want is on the other side of your fear, and the only way there is straight through. Act decisively, breathe steadily, make courage your daily habit, and you will see your inner world expand, your self-confidence grow, and your ability to achieve your goals become unshakable. That is exactly what happens when you decide to move forward without asking fear for permission. Acting as if you are already the person you want to be accelerates your transformation. Acting as if is not pretending, it's training, a conscious decision to behave in alignment with your best version, even before you feel completely ready. The truth is, don't wait for self-confidence to act. Act, and self-confidence will come. You don't need to feel successful to move like someone successful. You just have to begin. Consciously imitating the behaviors of your best self is one of the most powerful methods to accelerate your inner transformation. The brain learns through repetition and association. If you show up every day with the posture, presence, body language, and radiance of a confident, strong person, your mind begins to accept this as the new normal. At first, it may feel like a mask, but with consistency, it becomes a part of you. Not because you're pretending to be something you're not, but because you're practicing something that already lives within you and just needs expression to become visible. Carefully observe who you want to be, how this version of you behaves, how they speak, what habits they nurture, what boundaries they respect, how they respond to conflict, failure, and fear, what decisions they make. Then transfer that into reality. Take that posture, speak with that conviction, establish those habits. Don't wait for motivation. Act as if you already have the strength you're building. Every habit matters, every repetition leaves a trace. Every day you act from your ideal self rewires your mind. Your identity is not set in stone. It is shaped every day by your decisions. When you act as if you are already disciplined, resilient, and self-controlled, you program your mind to bring out and solidify those qualities. This isn't arrogance or illusion, it's mental strategy. Because if you act like someone defeated, insecure, and weak, that's what you become. But if you act like someone determined, strong, and purposeful, you build yourself through action. And action always beats stuck thinking. The results come as a natural consequence of disciplined repetition. Self-confidence doesn't appear suddenly, but is cultivated day by day. In how you act, even when doubt is present, and others sense it too, because the world responds to what you radiate. If you act like someone who deserves respect, respect will follow. If you act like someone prepared, opportunities will arise. If you act like someone who values themselves, life will reflect that value back to you. Stoicism teaches that our actions are more important than our feelings. You can feel fear and still be brave if you act with determination. You can doubt and still be steadfast if you act with clarity. Pretending is not dishonest if the goal is growth. It's emotional training. The more often you do it, the more natural it becomes. You don't have to have everything figured out to begin. You just have to decide. Act like someone who is already consistent, who has control over their emotions, who pays attention to their impact, their words, and their decisions. Soon, the as-if will become an I am. Practice not only trains you, it transforms you. Don't expect to immediately recognize yourself in the mirror, but stay consistent with small, clear, repeated actions. Don't see your best version as a distant dream, but as your new standard. Live today with the habits, the presence, and the mindset of someone who has already achieved what you are building. If you practice this long enough, you will believe it, and if you believe it, you will become it. Surround yourself with people who support and encourage your growth. Your environment shapes you, whether you realize it or not. Every conversation, every gesture, every energy you encounter daily leaves a quiet mark on the way you think, feel, and act. If you're not aware of this, you can sabotage your own growth just by being surrounded by people who add nothing to you. The people you spend the most time with shape not only your worldview, but especially your self-image. If you want to grow, you must surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who hold you back. There are relationships that nourish you, that lovingly challenge you, that inspire you to become better without telling you directly what to do. In the presence of a disciplined person, you'll feel motivated to organize your own life. In the presence of a positive person, you'll start questioning your complaints. In the presence of a brave person, you'll remember that you too can overcome your fears. The right environment is like a mirror that shows you what you can become, but there are also people who, often without bad intentions, extinguish your inner fire, mock your goals, belittle your progress, transfer their fears, their cynicism, or their complacency onto you. They don't have to say it. You feel it. Every time you're with them, you leave more confused, more tired, further away from your goal. If that happens regularly, you have to make a decision. Protect your energy. That doesn't mean hating or judging anyone, but that you have the right and the responsibility to consciously shape your environment, because what you sow around you will reflect within you. Surround yourself with mediocrity, and it's hard to strive for excellence. Surround yourself with complaints, and it's hard to stay grateful. Surround yourself with fear, and doubts will sneak in. But surround yourself with people full of vision, discipline, and joy in growth, and your life will change, your thinking will expand, your spirit will grow stronger. Surround yourself with those who believe in you even when you doubt, who celebrate your growth without envy, who lovingly correct you, not to control you but to help you stay on course. Seek out souls who are also on the path, not perfect, but determined, because growing together is more powerful than growing alone. If your environment carries you, you move forward faster, stronger, and clearer. And if today you feel alone in this process, then start by becoming that positive environment yourself. Be the person you need by your side. Be consistent, constant, and full of integrity. And you will gradually attract those who resonate on the same frequency, because energy recognizes itself like attracts like. When you're at peace with yourself, you automatically start filtering out everything that doesn't serve your growth. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control others, but we can control who we share our time and attention with. Consciously choosing your environment is lived wisdom. It means setting boundaries. It means raising your standards. It's not about elitism, but about awareness. What you allow around you influences what you build within. Make an honest check. Who lifts you up? Who drains your energy? With whom do you talk about goals, habits, meaning, and with whom only about gossip, complaints, and excuses? This inventory is not for judging, but for deciding. Today, make the decision to consciously nourish your relationships. Spend more time with those who inspire you and less with those who hold you back. Not out of selfishness, but out of self-protection and respect for your path. And even if you haven't yet found that circle, keep working on yourself. Because when you radiate clarity, consistency, and determination, the right environment will come naturally, not by chance, but because your inner development is reflected outward. In the end, it's not just about growth, but about growing in community with those who also build themselves up. That's the true power of environment. Measure yourself against yourself, not others. Compare yourself with who you were, not with who others pretend to be, because every time you turn your head to measure your worth by someone else's steps, you lose focus. And without focus, there is no progress. External comparisons are a subtle trap. They seem to motivate but lead you away from yourself. They push you to chase validation, to impress, to meet others' expectations. And the more you do that, the further you drift from what truly matters, your own growth. Your only valid benchmark is yourself. Your real competition doesn't happen on social media, not at work, not in your surroundings. It happens in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I more disciplined today than yesterday? Do I have more clarity, more calmness, more focus? Am I even just one step ahead of my last version? If the answer is yes, then you're on the right path, because that's the real game. Everything else is noise. It doesn't matter how fast others are if you are moving consistently in the right direction. Success isn't speed, it's coherence. It isn't popularity, it's authenticity. And when you decide to compete only with yourself, something powerful is set in motion. Ego shrinks, envy disappears, and true motivation arises. The kind that comes from purpose, not from judgment. That doesn't mean ignoring others, but seeing them without measuring your worth against them. You can admire without comparing. You can learn without feeling inferior. You can celebrate others' successes without doubting your own. Because every path is different. Every process has its pace. Every person fights battles you don't see. Define your own standards. What does success mean to you? What does a good week look like? What habits do you want to strengthen? What kind of person do you want to become? And then measure yourself by that, not by what others display. Remember, what you see from them is just the storefront, not the storage. You're working behind the scenes, on the roots. Self-improvement takes courage because it requires brutal honesty with yourself, to see your shadows, your excuses, your patterns, and to say, I will get better, not to please others, but because I owe it to myself. That's true motivation, the commitment to yourself. And that commitment brings lasting results, not short-term bursts. Stoicism teaches that the wise are not disturbed by others' happiness because their life standard doesn't depend on the external. They live by reason, virtue, and a duty to themselves. They don't strive to be better than others, but more integrous than yesterday. That's the competition that transforms, because it's not about beating everyone, but about not betraying yourself. With that clarity, you no longer live for applause, but from purpose. You don't need to be seen. You need to feel that your soul is at peace. And that peace comes when you know you're doing the right thing, even if no one notices, when you know you're progressing, even if others are faster. Because you're not running a race. You're building a life step by step with intention. Every day is an opportunity to surpass yourself, not someone else. Every habit you maintain, every distraction you avoid, every conscious decision is an act of personal power.